Yeah.
And it's a time to get on right now, and then it's just gonna.
Well,
the changes are gonna come in the bank account anymore.
Well, you know what? Nikki. We have a special guest on the line. As a matter of fact.
We surely do. Yes, the one and only Victoria Lorient Fabish, keynote speaker, holistic psychotherapist, wellness coach, and author. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
I'm so glad that I'm here, and glad to meet you, Keith, and glad to speak with you as always, Nikki. I'm here.
And, we never have enough time to talk. Every time, we sit down together, whether it be on my show or we're meeting anywhere, we just get right into it. And because you have so much information to share, and people want to know about, how to better themselves and also about relationships. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a passion of mine. I sort of became a bit of a relationship expert as a result of the 20 plus years in doing the work that I do.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially, I feel like, our journey in life, we're always most often we are going to be in relationships with people. And so we grow the most, even in the toughest of relationships. So when people say to me, well, I'm done with relationships, I'm over, it's done, I'm not doing that anymore, I'm like, okay, are you sure? Because you're going to stagnate. You're going to stagnate. So,
because we are social animals, we need people.
We need people, and also this is where the meat of life is.
Right.
This is where the meat of life is our interpersonal relationships with people. And so I have to say, anyone who is sort of like done with relationships, I encourage you to think again and dip in again to the relationship world. But do it in a healthy way. Do it in a healthy way.
Right. It has to be healthy. Victoria, can you talk about your exciting web series in December? And I love the title, Radiant Relationship Healing.
Yeah, I mean, the live workshop coming up on the 30th. But I'm most excited about putting it out there in a webinar format so that the world can kind of reach it. Because if it's only in Toronto, only Toronto people come, which is great, but it's not as diverse. So yeah, my webinar series is essentially Radiant Relationship Healing. I'm going to be talking about sort of four different sections of relationship healing, mainly getting past guilt, anger, jealousy, and shame in the first one. And I really talk about how to transform your thinking through rewiring your neural pathways. Each and every one of our habits, each and every one of our patterns is associated with neural pathways. And people need to know that, we all want happiness, but the only true road to happiness is really having discipline over your thinking.
Okay.
Right.
There's no
control our choices.
Yeah, we really do. We need to control our thoughts so that we don't allow things like jealousy, anger, resentment, shame, guilt to rule the roost. Okay.
Right.
Essentially.
So that emotions. So that sometimes the eternal emotions don't cloud the proper decision making.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you, but have you ever been in a relationship with someone who's constantly, resentful, angry, jealous,
Oh yeah.
Or have you it's like it doesn't work. It doesn't work. It becomes let's be in a nightmare.
It's tiring.
Yeah.
And
it becomes a situationship instead of a relationship.
That's a good word. A situationship. I like that a lot. And it becomes basically, I ask people, how do you want to keep learning in life? Do you want to learn through major pain, or do you want to learn through a little bit more ease in your journey?
Right.
A little bit more ease in your journey.
So that is directly linked to yourself. So however you're, relating to people has to do with your own dynamics. And you mentioned something about healing your hurt child. Can you talk about what that is?
Yes, and the next segment will be about, basically dealing with boundary setting and really finding out whether you're in, I'm going to be talking a lot about whether you're in the hurt child voice or whether you're in the balanced adult voice. And people don't know. I mean, people are operating in their adult bodies, having sex, having life, getting out there, doing things. But are they operating from the balanced adult where, and you're in your balanced adult when you're present day focused, when you're not in jealousy mode, when you are able to see the bigger picture in a situation, the lesson, what's in it for me, what's the lesson in here for me. But when you're in the hurt child, guaranteed what's going on, a person is often operating from poor me, victimhood, save me, or the rebellious teenager energy, which is, I'm gonna get you basically because I need to. I'm resentful of you. People also, when you're hurt child, in the hurt child voice, you're not speaking up for yourself. You're operating out of guilt. You're operating out of a sense of obligation or the disease to please. That's all hurt child is. That's all hurt child. Self-denial. Yeah, the cycle of self-denial where you weren't taught how to ask for what you need, and then when you ask for what you need, it kind of comes out in a rageous way, so people don't really want to have anything to do with you, right?
Wow.
So the hurt child is ruining people's lives while it's running people's lives.
Gotcha.
And I'm all about teaching people to grow the hurt child up, because that hurt child does not need to be banished, but it needs to be grown up.
It needs to be grown up. It needs to be grown up, and it's funny that you mentioned that, because it is really an epidemic. I meet so many people, and like you said, they're looking the adult look, they're talking the adult talk, but when it comes to moments when it's one-on-one interaction, this child comes out, and the whole thing that I'm reading from them is rescue me, feel sorry for me, and there's a lot of manipulation behind it. I had a conversation with a woman who was, way up there. She's like one of the pillars of the community, and then I felt a very uncomfortable boundary come out, and she started relating to me in a way that it was like, whoa, this is too much information. I expected it, but it was too much. So I couldn't leave the car. I couldn't jump out of the car on the highway, but I certainly felt like it because she was draining me with all this information. So was that the hurt child?
So you're in your hurt child when you are overly revealing too quickly, so that your boundaries are completely off. Completely off. In other words, when we're in the adult, we're kind of saying, hey, I need to get to know you before I tell you my inner.
Right.
I need to get to know you. I'm a reasonable adult, and I don't know you from Adam, so I'm going to first get to know if you're trustworthy, if you're someone that deserves to hear all my inner, experiences. And often people who are in the hurt child are looking for approval, looking for that sort of, and that's what it sounds like. What might have happened is she really just wanted. She doesn't know her own self, and she doesn't have clear boundaries, and so it was like, hey, Nikki seems like a really together person. Let me just bombard. Let me bombard and suck on that really strong energy.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. And it sounds to me like you got exactly what it was. Were you able to? Just curious. Were you able to say? Were you able to get out of it, or did you feel sort of trapped?
I was trapped, the ride going down.
Oh, okay.
And then going back, I used my logic, and when she started, I had to redirect her energy, and I asked her questions that made her think.
Good.
And that was the teacher side of me, and then it changed. It just shifted, because I had to protect my own self and my energy, like you said.
From being so drained, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Now, speaking of people who tend to drain, can you describe the narcissistic personality? And I think I've dated one like that.
Who hasn't, Nikki? So the third webinar will be spot relationship dysfunction from the start. So the first one is get past the states of being to compromise your personal and professional boundaries, like the guilt, anger, regret, all of those, and then clarify the difference between good and bad boundaries, and then spot relationship dysfunction from the start. So a narcissistic personality, what you got to watch out for is that they're very, very charming. Very charming. Very seductive. I just was working with a client today who's just sort of grieving the loss of her very seductive, charming, narcissistic partner. There's a real energy of push-pull with the narcissist. So it's like, you will feel the light that they shine on you. Right. Very, very, very distinctly. It's when they are with you, it's like a light like you've never experienced before. You are bathing in that attention, and when they take it away, it's like you are in the North Pole, and it's a cold blizzard.
Okay.
So it's very push-pull, and it's also their needs are the only needs on the roster. Their needs are the only needs that matter. As soon as you get comfortable and as soon as you start to expose your needs, they're not interested. It's just not what they're up for, and there can be some denigration, some poor treatment, some terrible behavior, and then what's most confounding about the narcissistic personality is that they will treat you as if they're the victim. And that they're the martyr.
Okay. And when Victoria, when you speak about, I guess the tricky side of it, that when they're actually giving you all the attention in the world at that time before they switch over. At that time,
before they turn.
Right. When they do that, are they fooling the mind, because at that time they may be making, acting as if your concerns are really an issue to them, like they're really concerned with how you feel? Is that just kind of like the picture they're painting? But
I mean, the only way that a narcissist is behaving in a way that is concerning for you is if there's some manipulation afoot.
Okay, all right.
So, because narcissists generally, and let me be clear about something, both of you, and I think I've said this to you before, Nikki, narcissism is on a continuum. In other words, we're all a little narcissistic, okay? The question is, where on the continuum are we? Are we in the personality disorder end of the continuum, which is the more serious aspect of narcissism, or are we just sort of overly self-involved, which is the less harmful aspect of narcissism? So that's important, but narcissistic personality disorder is more serious, it's more manipulative, they come usually from very, very difficult family backgrounds, so that they usually came up in a world where they themselves were the child of a narcissist, or they came up in a world where there was no love and affection, so they had to hoard love and affection. And so it's a very tough personality to be able to negotiate, because often the people who become in relationship with the narcissist will end up going, what am I doing wrong? Did I do something wrong? Maybe I'm the bad person here.
Right.
Because they're so good at flipping the situation around.
Yes.
Right, acting as if they're the victim, in other words, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I don't know, there's various people in the media that are, in certain ways, and then they come off going, well, I didn't do anything wrong. People, the entire population is going, yeah, you did wrong things. That was not good. That was not good. But then you actually will watch them and go, oh, they're victims, and then they can turn the tide for them, with them also. Right. So it's something I see in the media very often, especially people that are being publicly sort of outed for behaviors that manipulative behaviors, and also various relationships that I'm sure the two of you are sort of recognizing as, yes, right. I've been there, done that.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. I have a situation that maybe I could, describe, and maybe tell me if it is or if it isn't. But, when you're on Facebook and your social media, there's certain things that you observe, and I watch a lot of behaviors. I don't say much, but I notice. And, people who get up, even before brushing their teeth, they they take a selfie in the bathroom and then they post it on Facebook. And I mean, this is a ritual.
Yep.
So the same person, everything from, what they ate to what they did, it's all documented on a regular basis. Now, the same individual apparently got very, very sick, and they even posted pictures of them being wheeled in a wheelchair. And I thought, cry for attention? Is that narcissistic or?
Well, yeah. I mean, look, 30. So it's so interesting because I don't know. You saw Nikki, probably I was on breakfast television. I was talking about dating in the modern world, and the truth is that with all the Tinder and with all the Facebook and Twitter and all of the social media, we are immediacy junkies. We are immediacy junkies, and we are selfie junkies, and we've become a society of narcissists. I mean, I'm on Facebook all the time trying to promote my webinars and da-da-da-da. It's just all about it, you know what I'm saying? So we're definitely tending toward a less introspective society and a more self-involved and exposing our self-involvedness. Now, I don't know if this person is looking for attention or what they are doing, but the fact that they can do a selfie and then put it on, it's definitely, it's like, I am not comfortable being on my own, and I need other people to affirm me. We become affirmation junkies. I'm not judging. I'm just stating what I'm observing, and I'm also observing myself doing it. It's like, it's part of a societal condition, I think, Nikki. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? It's not something that I'm necessarily judging. What I am is observing it and going, okay, we've got to kind of, do a little social media fasting periodically.
I agree with you. I make a day where it's just like, I have to rest from social media, and I don't even go there. Yeah. Because, it can really draw you in. So I totally understand that.
Mm-hmm.
Now I pre-program my posts on Hootsuite, so I do them all in one go, and I'm not even remembering what I posted, even though all the things that I post are rather inspirational and positive and all about self-improvement and all these things. But it's like, oh my gosh, I'm on it again, and I actually did not even remember that I was on it. So it's kind of interesting, this social media thing.
It really is. Now, from your breakfast television interview, which was fantastic, you did talk about, it was fabulous, the modern day dating. Can you tell us, maybe top 3 tips of what to do and what not to do on a first date?
On a first date?
Yeah.
Or just generally dating in the modern world?
I think some people can make or break their first date experiences. Maybe they don't, dating for dummies. Like, what can you tell them to do?
Number 1, and I said this on BT, don't get overly sexual right off the bat. Because when we sexualize ourselves too soon in a meeting of someone, it's not in a relationship, in a getting together with someone, we start to emit a biochemical called oxytocin, which is the biochemical of nesting. So we biologically will start to emit a nesting hormone as soon as we start heavy petting and having sex and even just a lot of hugging and kissing. All of that stuff will make us put out this hormone, and we start to get blinded by the love drug. I call it the love drug.
Right.
We stop seeing flaws. We stop thinking logically. So I tell people, hold off on sex.
Right.
Give it. Oh my God. I'm a big fan of the 10-date rule, but people today think I'm crazy, so let's go 5 days, okay? It's a 50% sale. Slash it in half. Wait, 5 days. 5 days.
Right.
At the very least.
Like 3 months, you should hold off, right?
I'm thinking take it easy. Why do we have to have, let's get to know. Now, I'm clearly a little bit old-fashioned, so I'm interested in being with the times. Slash it in half. 50%. Let's do 5 days, okay? And so 5 days. Wait, go on a date one day, get to know, have an interesting time, talk. And people need to, I believe, in the dating experience initially, find out key things, people, please.
Mm-hmm.
What is the relationship with money?
Yeah.
Does the person have a lot of debt? What is the relationship with their family? Is there a lot of drama? Is there a lot of dysfunction? What is their relationship with their body, with themselves? Do they honor themselves? Do they eat McDonald's every day? Are they disrespecting of themselves? Because I do believe that how we do some things is how we do everything. Gotcha.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, if a person is disrespecting their money, their family, their food, their body, chances are, pushing coming to shoving, they're going to start disrespecting you.
Yeah, that's true.
Absolutely. So I'm practical in my advice. This is not rocket science.
Mm-hmm.
It's be a keen observer of the signs and symptoms, and believe people when they show you who they are versus when they tell you what they are and who they are. Forget the words. Forget the words.
Mm-hmm.
What are they doing? What are their actions?
Right. Now,
and observe those actions.
Now,
and don't ignore them.
Now, like, Victoria, going to the to the question of how long to wait. Now, some people out there generally base, and people are different, but some people out there base the question of whether the person is into them or not, depending on how soon they give sex. Now, of course, we know, like you say, too soon is never too good anyway. Okay.
I agree. Yeah.
With that being a given, let's say that someone's interested in, a guy or girl is interested in the opposite sex, and now they're starting to question, okay, because you have these issues of some people who get used for money, different things like that. So how would a person, let's say that a male or female is waiting the 8 to 10 days to get sexually active, and the opposite person is starting to wonder, okay, is it that they don't like me and they're just kind of playing games with me mentally? What are some signs to kind of be able to differentiate?
Well, sorry, I had a cold about 10 days ago, and I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
2 things. Don't confuse sex with love.
Right.
Number 1. Don't confuse sex with love. One has nothing to do with the other. So if that's what your measure of whether or not there's love going on or a deep interest, then I think that a person has to really assess differently. Number 2, communication is your friend.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about it. Say, listen, I'm really into you. I'm really hot for you, but I want to get to know you before we get into the sexual end of things.
Okay.
How do you feel about that? Open the mouth and start talking. How do you feel about that? Well, I feel like this and that. Okay, but you know what? I'm not comfortable yet, so let's negotiate a little time frame here. Let's make it special.
Okay.
Let's not just have sex for the sake of having sex. Let's have this as another step into our intimacy journey.
Okay.
Let's communicate.
Right.
Let's say, I'm into you.
Okay.
The fact that I'm not having sex with you does not mean I'm not into you. I'm into you. I'm attracted to you. I think you're hot. I think you're great. And I would like to ask if it's okay with you that we wait.
Okay.
Right.
Right. As you say, communication. Like you say, communication. Don't be afraid to come out and let that person know, listen, I'm really into you, so don't get it confused, but this is where I stand and these are the rules. And if the other person is receptive properly and a good person for you, then they'll communicate back and understand that.
Well, exactly, Keith, because if they say, well, I'm out of here, well, then you know.
Right.
It's clear that this is not a good bet.
Okay. All right.
This is not something you need to be investing your time in. And that conversation is going to be a real telltale sign, actually, as to whether or not this person is someone to invest your energy in or not. Because if they're like, well, then I'm out of here,
right.
Well, then fine.
Right.
And I say to people, be willing to lose people.
Yeah.
Be willing to lose people because you'll replace them with the right people. That's right. Be willing to create a space. Be willing to let people go.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you are not willing to let people go, there's going to be an energy of desperation. And the holding on tight will be the energy that will eventually destroy the situation.
Right.
Don't hold on tight.
And then you're locked into something. Next thing you know, you found a dependency somewhere, even if it's not, if it's not by one aspect, and there's another section of the relationship where you might have found the dependency, and then you're locked into it, and then you're going through all hell.
And I say spend the time, Keith.
Mm-hmm.
Spend the time getting to know who this person is on the various levels that I mentioned earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Spend the time and open the mouth, speak.
Right.
Talk.
I do a 90-day probation period. Because I think after 90 days, that person is going to really show their true colors. You can only fake it for so long. You know, they get better or they get worse. So,
and in those 90 days, are you deciding? Are you? I wanted to ask you this, Victoria. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, you know, dating has changed. I come from maybe the same school that you do, Victoria, dating.
Yeah.
And I noticed a trend where people show parts of their body, their private parts, in text messages. They sext before an actual invitation to like lunch or dinner. And I have to say that this happened to me last week. Someone sent me something, and I have no idea who they are, but it was like, hi, hello, and here's my private parts.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and then I just immediately blocked them, but before blocking, the message that came after was, well, why aren't you responding to me? So I have to think in their mind that this might be something that is okay to some people.
You know, it's...
I was a little confused. It was a little, you know, indignant remark.
Rude. Old-fashioned. I'm sorry. Apologies. It's rude.
It was darn rude.
Yeah. I'm sorry. And I'm sorry that happened to you, Nikki, because it's an objectification in a way that's not acceptable. Now, let me be clear. I'm not a prude. If you've got a more, intimate relationship that people have been involved in a more longer term, and they want to kind of send a little sexy picture to one another, and I'm all for that. No problem. Go send your parts to your boyfriend.
Because I know your parts.
Yes, I get with your parts. I get your parts. It's not about prudishness and overly, pure. That's BS. I'm not into that. I'm into respect, though. You know, and to me, a person that you don't know sending you a picture of his private part is, to me, red flags, objectification, rude, ungentlemanly behavior.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's vulgar. At the end of the day, it's vulgar.
It's vulgar. Yeah.
And I have no problem with a little one-on-one consensual vulgarity among adults. You know what I mean? Adults who are into a little sexiness, and maybe they want to be a little rude and vulgar, but because everyone is sort of in on it, it's no problem.
You know, it's consensual, it's cool.
Exactly. But what you have there is, so I've got to say that what that is an affirmation junkie.
Okay.
You know what?
That's an affirmation junkie.
From my perspective, I'm gonna just come out and call it weird.
It's weird, Yankee. It's a little strange behavior.
I mean, you know.
At least.
Yeah, like sorry to cut you, but like you say, if you've been in a relationship with somebody and those are things that you share, obviously, okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But when people just start doing that right off gate, like that's just, I mean, what are they at home? It's like you said earlier, Victoria, like you got to look at it now like, well, what are they doing at home? You know what I'm saying? In their own time.
Way too much time on their hands.
Yeah.
Literally. Which brings me to the next question.
Sure.
The commitment phobe.
Uh-oh.
Yes,
Talk about that person.
Run in the other direction. So the commitment phobes are really common. You know, I mean, number one, again, I'm not about judging. I'm about explaining. Commitment phobes often come from very traumatic childhood environments, and they're saying to themselves, why, in God's name, am I going to engage myself in an area of life, relationships, where there was so much pain and so much turmoil? So that's their inner running commentary, their battle cry. Relationships are scary. Love is scary. Getting my heart broken hurts too much. And so I'm out of here. So even I work with them here in my office. Even if they have an intention to, I want to be like, they come in and it's like, Victoria, I need some help. I really love this person. I really love them. I really want to make a life with them. I've been in a relationship for a year with them, and we want to start committing. And I am finding myself, this is the commitment folk talking, deeply anxious, deeply panicked, and I am behaving and acting out in a way that I'm going to now explain as things to watch out for in the commitment folk, which is push-pull behavior as well, just like the narcissist push-pull. It's like they're there and then they're not. You know, the disappearing act, and then they come back as they calm down a little, and the person says, hey, where have you been? And there's like, hey, we're in the moment. Hey, baby, don't, you know, stop with that. Don't have to worry. Just where am I at right now? So that's I'm here now. Nobody was wrong to me with it before, you know. And so I was like often saying, you know, I'm here for a short time, not a long time. Not because they're bad people, but because they operate from a very, very fearful place. And often their deep unconsciousness about this causes them to act in very, very unbecoming, hurtful ways. And that's why, and it is a deep problem that needs a lot of therapy. So I say to people that notice this kind of push-pull behavior and this kind of I'm here and then disappearing act behavior and very seductive behavior, you got to run in the other direction because it can be very, very damaging to you if you start falling in love with that person.
Right. Players. Is that another word to refer to? What's that?
Players. Yeah, the players. And players, I mean, I think the players generally are commitment phobic, but also I think that the complex is commitment phobia / narcissism.
Okay.
I think that's the complex, the psychological complex.
Okay.
And people need to watch out for that. I mean, I'm telling people, get more into the nice guy, the nice girl. You know, they may not be as flashy, but you're going to at least know where you stand. You know, someone who's not always, you know, into FOMO, fear of missing out. They're always looking over, grass is always greener over there. You know, if they're doing that, you know there's a problem. So, someone that, you know, look at for less flash and more sincerity.
Yeah.
And a lot of people say, well, you know, they're boring, the nice guy, the nice girl's boring. I'm like,
but they bring stability,
right? What's that?
They bring stability.
They do, and people feel very bored with stability sometimes. They want drama, chaos. And I say, you know, are you drama addicted? And if you are, get on a 12-step program to deal with your drama addiction.
And there's some people who love drama.
Yeah.
Right. They love it, and they feel, and I guess it has, you know, a lot to do with the roots from maybe their childhood or what they witnessed growing up. But if you're not giving them drama, it's like you don't love them because that's what they're used to.
Yeah, and that's, you run in the other direction for that. You know, I ask people to get on board with non-drama oriented life.
Keep it zen. That's how I roll.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, makes sense.
So November 30th is the workshop, and then people can go to visualizationworks.com for information about my webinars, which technically it's been a bit of a beast. So it'll either happen in latter part of December or early January, my webinar series, and it'll be very priced really, really well for people to access the webinar series on Radiant. It'll be called Radiant, for the webinar, it'll be called Radiant Relationship Rescue, and I'm going to be talking about the 4 fundamental and transformational keys for empowering your relationship with yourself and others, getting past all that guilt, resentment, anger, boundaries, spotting relationship dysfunction from the start, and transforming how to transform your inner bully into a supportive coach.
Okay.
Can we talk about that?
Sure.
So the inner bully is the voices, the things you tell yourself, I'm not good enough, I'm not going to make it.
It's the perfectionistic.
Okay.
The perfectionistic part of us that anxiety sees our perfectionism, and then it gets into this sort of militaristic way of do more, be more, go, be, do it. You got to do it. You're not good enough. You're not. And that we think erroneously that will motivate us into being a better, more disciplined person. But that militaristic way of talking to ourselves, the hurt child in us or the child in us perceives that as discipline without love. And when we hear discipline without love, we actually see and feel that as abuse. So then we rebel and say, no, don't need that, do not want to be bullied, and then we rebel, and then we completely go off our program, whatever that program was. Right. So it's counterproductive.
Okay. Now, meditation. Victoria, do you have any suggestions on good ways to meditate, or what advice you have for that?
Well, yeah. I mean, I used to have real trouble meditating, Keith.
Mm-hmm.
And that is why I created a double meditation CD called As Above, So Below. People can get it and download it electronically on my website, visualizationworks.com. Because it's guided meditations. I find that having someone sort of leading you on a bit of a visual journey will help the brain focus a lot faster. And also, another easy way to begin meditating is to simply focus in on your breath and have music in your ear pumped in. So that's a good beginner way to meditate for those of us who have trouble focusing.
Right, focusing. I've tried to meditate a few times, and that's really the main concern. It's like cloudy thoughts. So it's like, what do I focus on that can just clear everything out? But you say breathing.
Focus on your breath, and also get a good guided meditation to allow your brain to focus in on the voice and on the visual journey that is being presented to you.
Okay.
I have found that the reason I created that CD is because I had trouble meditating, and so that is why I decided to do that. To me it was essential because I want to meditate, but I couldn't focus.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So that became my methodology.
And we're so busy. There's so many distractions coming at us, so it makes it difficult for people to meditate.
Yeah, and the other thing is that meditation. I have a family member who's a hardcore Buddhist, and she can meditate for an hour and a half, no worries, and I'm like in deep admiration of her. I teach meditation, but I teach meditation for the Western mind. Meditation for the Western mind that is busy, always being bombarded with information, needs something to focus on. And so that's why I like to have some sort of a guided meditation in the ear where a person is following a calm and relaxed voice through a visual description. So that and there are in my meditation CD there is healing the hurt child meditation. There's manifest your heart's desire meditation. They're about 15 minutes each, and then there's a journey through balancing the chakra system, which is our 7 energy centers through our body, and that is awesome. And in my book, Find Your Self Culture, which you can also get on my website, I take people at the back of the book through about 3 or 4 different visual meditations that people can read, record, and then listen to their own voice, which I find very effective as well.
Oh, okay. So, because that answered a big question for me, and a lot of people out there very well might not have known this. So you can actually meditate with some sort of sound going on. It just needs to be a sound that's peaceful and just guides you and takes you off.
That's right. I feel that that's a really good way to begin the meditation practice for someone who isn't yet into sort of, going to a Buddhist temple or even just sitting there and breathing, and the brain is just doing a shopping list.
Okay.
So, I feel that that's why and it's something I teach a lot in my office. I teach it in the CD, in my book. I talk about it on my YouTube channel. Ways to meditate for the Western mind.
Okay.
That's very important.
Absolutely.
It's a very good distinction because of our own unique, attributes, different from other parts of the world. So it's really good.
It's easy to meditate when you're in Tibet in a cave.
For sure.
Right.
Or in downtown Toronto, or I'm in downtown Toronto. Many people are in urban cities, urban experiences, and have a lot of different feedback coming on, feedback. And so it's just got to be a way to it's just a way
to get away,
to focus the mind.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. So that lets me know, because sometimes I can get, I've got a few songs and they're peaceful and there's not a lot going on. There's not too much drums. It's not mind wrecking. And I can listen to it and just get lost into thought, with that stuff going on. Now,
Beautiful.
Would a person need to later on hit the stop button once they're off into focus, or is it okay to just let that play on in the back of the mind?
Let it go. Yeah, let it go. And just the key, I'd like also to do some breathing exercises where people kind of breathe in for a count of 4, and then breathe out for a count of 4, and then breathe in for a count of 5, and breathe out for a count of 5, and try and extend that to 10.
Okay.
Not that easy, but it is really kind of interesting to try and do that.
Right.
Slowing your breath down. Really slowing that breath right down.
Now, what are the results that we're looking for, during or after the meditation? Like, what is it that we're trying to accomplish?
We're trying to slow our breath, our mind, and our perspective down, because I feel that impulsiveness is our enemy.
Okay.
So we've got to just slow down.
Okay.
And I teach what I need to learn. Everything I'm teaching is because I myself need to learn it and continually affirm it and reaffirm it.
Okay.
Wonderful.
All right. Sounds great.
And the book that you wrote, Finding Your Self Culture, is one of my favorites. And Keith, you should really get a copy of this because there's just so much to learn about yourself, from family history and certain habits that we need to break. But the biggest thing, and I say this every time, that I learned from the book was the difference between self-love and selfie. Can you talk about that?
Selfie versus selfish.
Right.
Selfie versus selfish. So selfish is basically without a regard for any other human being. It's just self. And the selfiness, which when I was writing the book, I took a couple of years to write it. The new word that was coming on the scene was selfie. People taking selfies, but that's with an IE. Mine is selfie with a Y. So selfie is more sort of an attitude of personalized self-care. Personalized self-care. That to me is the accurate description description of selfie, which is to have personalized self-care, which requires that you know yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You know yourself.
Okay.
And that's powerful. To know thyself.
You've got to know what you want and need, and you can only do that by taking time and slowing it down.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And there's no point of giving energy to someone that you don't have yourself. You're just running on empty.
Yeah.
If you don't know who you are, essentially,
you don't know where you're going.
You're going to make poor choices for yourself.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. If as you both say, slowing down again, that takes us back to the meditation factor. Like, once you can begin to take meditation and use it, utilize it properly, then eventually you can slow down and you can say, hey, I wasn't thinking this correctly. I need to go this way, or this is what I need to do. Because a lot of times we're crowding our brains with a whole lot of stuff that we really don't necessarily need. In other words, the job sometimes to get us right is a lot simpler than we think it is. Mm-hmm. And if we just take quality over quantity, I'll put it that way, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I put up a status the other day, and I said it's really important to delete some files from our mind, so that we can have proper programming. Because after a while, you're just going to crash that little instrument, your mind. It's a computer with all the data that you're taking in every day. So
and hopefully you're taking in more positive than negative, right?
Exactly. Right. Which again leads us right back to the whole relationship scenario too as well. Keep it simple. Know what you want. Know what's proper. Make it positive and keep it simple. Don't try to figure out a whole lot. Just know the difference in what's right and what's wrong, and stick to that blueprint.
Yeah, and self-respect and respect for others.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Another piece to make sure is in there.
Which again,
and consensual sexting.
Yeah. Permission before you sex ugly. Not ugly, but it's not ugly. We love it, but it's not okay if I don't know you.
It's not okay if I don't know you.
Yes.
There you go.
It can be ugly too.
Victoria, it's been a pleasure.
Always a pleasure to speak with you, and nice to meet you, Keith.
Same here. Likewise, Victoria, and I learned some wonderful tips. And yes, I do plan to check that book out. So I won't. I want to get selfie, but not selfish.
You got it. Get selfie, but don't get selfish.
Right.
The book is called Find Yourself Culture.
Mm-hmm.
You can check out my website at visualizationworks.com. And the meditation CD is As Above, So Below.
All right. As Above, So Below.
Thank you so much. And as a part of Throwback Thursday, we asked you to prepare a really cool throwback song. So what do you have for us, Victoria?
That's The Way Love Goes by the wonderful Miss Janet
Jackson. I love that.
Love her.
Hey, can I say something, y'all? I used to bet that song was a meditational. I used to be able to I didn't know I was meditating, but now that I think about it, look, that song has such a good groove to it that I used to dance to that song.
I agree.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree too.
And so that was in its own way kind of like a great way to meditate, because you could just kind of groove to it. The sounds was good, and very, very good song, as a matter of fact, to take you away.
Yeah, great choice.
And you know what I love about it? I love the video. The video is so cool. I wanted to be at that party.
Yeah, I know, right?
You know.
They look so peaceful.
That's right.
Indeed. Listen, Victoria, thanks for coming on. We're honored to have you on, and you're welcome back anytime you like.
Right on.
So,
I appreciate it. Say hi to all the listeners out there. That's great. If they want to follow me on Twitter, it's @SelfCultureNow. And I know that you, Nikki Clarke, are Nicks on the Nicks. That's right.
Right, and I always retweet and I like your posts. So doing what you're doing, and you're really an advocate for healthy relationships, and we appreciate you. So
right.
Thank you so much, Nikki. I really appreciate you too. I hope you both have a wonderful evening.
Right. Also to let everybody know, just to remind those who were listening and may have missed a few things, and you want to go back and listen to the interview again, make sure you check the social network sites. The interview will be posted again, so you can go back and take in more information, and in case you missed or didn't have a pen at the time to write down where to go pick up Victoria's books and her teachings and things like that, make sure you catch the interview later on, because it will be up.
Can I post that link to this particular segment on my site?
Absolutely.
Yep.
And on my social media and all that?
Of course.
Yep. I'll send you the link.
Oh, fabulous. I can't wait. I want everybody to hear this.
That sounds wonderful.
It was a lot of fun.
All right. We'll talk to you soon, Victoria.
Take care, both of you.
You too.
You're welcome.
Love and light. Love and light.
Love and light.
Thank you. The same.
Enjoy that weather.
Thanks. Okay. We're alive. It's all good. Take care.
It's all good.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.